Hi, I'm Miriam Joy and welcome to my studio. Today we're working on our Easter cross and I wanted to show you how great it looks inside of a grapevine wreath. I needed just a little bit smaller grapevine wreath, but just to kind of give you an idea how gorgeous that could be. And we are going to be starting with a cross. And the cross I picked up from the Dollar Tree. I have seen these at other dollar stores as well. I first saw black ones at Halloween, and they came out with them at Easter, so I was really excited about using them as a base or a foundation. So the first thing we're going to do is called a tinsel cross, and we're going to remove the tinsel. And I don't like to cut the tinsel. I like to save it and use it for another project. And so I found this is where it kind of starts here. So we're going to unwrap that. And it's kind of got little pegs. It goes in and around. So kind of just weave it back and forth. If it doesn't come off one direction, kind of go around the other direction. It can kind of be wrapped around them. So just kind of work with it a little bit. Got one here that I'm not quite sure, and if all else fails, just cut it. It's not a big deal. But like I said, I use my leftover stuff for everything. I'm kind of noted for using a little bit of everything. And so we're going to get this guy all the way off. And then we're going to start the tinsel on the rest of it. And if you don't see where it started, just kind of come into one of these nubs and pull the tinsel off of it. And then you usually can see where it kind of comes up. And so I'm just going to go ahead and finish taking this off real quick, and then we'll start talking about the next step. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take all of these nubs and remove them. And just with the wire cutters, just take them right off and try to keep them from shooting all over the house. And so I'm going to go ahead and remove all of those. When you come up to the corner right here, just cut it flush with the corner. Now if you happen to break the plastic underneath, try not to pull things too heavy because you can break it. If you happen to break it, just take some electrical tape and just kind of tape it back together. I was a little bit rough on mine in the beginning and I had to do that. So if that happens to me, it could probably happen to you. So just know that you do have that option. So I'm going to go ahead and finish cutting all these nubs and we'll get to the fun part. I'm going to be using purple and green, and these are 3-inch 10 yards. And I got these from Hobby Lobby. These were actually Halloween, and they went on clearance up to 80 or 90% off. So I always wait till everything goes. I usually won't pay more than $1 for them, but always think about other holidays. Don't get just stuck about which holiday it is. So the pink and the purple I thought would be really pretty for Easter. So think outside the box when it comes to sales, especially. Watch your sales for your items. So I'm going to start on the bottom, and we're going to kind of weave it through the cross, and you can either glue that first one in, or I'm just going to put a pipe cleaner piece around it and kind of secure it and get it started that way. And last kind, I just kind of tucked it in, so we'll kind of see. So I'm going to start at the bottom down here, and we're kind of going in all of the holes. So we're going to bring up through there. So we've got that part, and then we're going to go to the other side across, and we're going to pull up in that one. So we've got those sticking out there. And now that we're on this side, we're going to go back to the other side. In this section, we're going to put in 3 loops. Now sometimes twisting it as you go from side to side makes it stay a little bit more stable. So you can decide if you want to go back and forth, if you think it's holding it a little bit more stable or not. That's up to you on if you want to twist it or not. I am going to turn that one this way. So we've got one there, and we're going to go, and I am going to twist this one and pull that out. There. Make sure you're not losing it on the other side. And to scoot that down a little bit, I'm going to twist again and go back to the other side. Now we want to keep these as even as possible with each other. And don't forget, we want to put all of our green in the middle, so we need to make sure that we have room for our green. Bring this one out the other side. And I'm not going to twist these last couple, only if they're not staying in real well. Go ahead and give them a little twist, that's fine. You don't want one sticking out more than the other one. If you need to go back and adjust that, just pull that a little bit. So we've kind of got all of those in there. So I'm going to go up to the next section now. We're going to go across. And make sure you're pulling them both on the same side. Not one side on the ribbon more than the other. And on the other side. So we're building our base for our cross. And we don't want it so big that this kind of all runs together up here and it doesn't look like a cross. That's kind of important. So we don't want it too big, but yet we want it big enough that we can put our green into the middle. Okay, and I'm going to go all the way to the top, and I'm doing 2 in each one of these, and up here I'll look and see if I want to do 3 because of this one out here, and then we're going to do a couple in those bottom parts. So I'm going to go ahead and work my way up there. I went ahead and put 3 in this section right below the top, and then I filled that out nice and full. You can even put 2 on each of those on the very top. I have left my hanger, so if you wanted to hang it, you could. So we've come to that part, so I'm going to come and I'm going to go opposite, because if I come here, this is going to maybe show through the side. So we're coming over to this one now, and we're probably going to put 4 in this one, and I'm going to start on this side over here. Now a little bit of this is going to be under, and that's okay. It's going to make it nice and full, and you can see that you can see the rib right down the middle of all of these, and that's where our green is going to go. And we're going to cover that up with our green, so don't worry about that. So I've got 2 one on each side. So I'm going to go ahead and do 4 on each side and then 1 at the end, and then I'll show you how we're going to go to the next section. Alright, so we've got those all the way on the side, so we're going to flip it over and we're going to take it across to the back side, and trust me, by the time you'd cut it and get it going again, you'd waste just as much. So we're going to put 4 on each one of these, and the 4th one goes right in that little nook. And when you're putting the 4, you're not kind of laying them down on top of each other. You're kind of squishing the first one down a little bit. And if you wanted to be turning it in between each one, you can do that. It's going to fill up a lot more. The nice thing about the mesh is once you get the mesh in there next to each other, it kind of interlocks, so it's not going to move around on you like a ribbon would. So that's the reason we can get away with that. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And once I get to that point there, we'll talk about tying it off. Alright, now that we're all done, we've got this last one, we're going to cut it. And we're just, if you want to glue it on, you could. I'm just going to wrap those tails in, get them nice and tight, and just find one of the little things to anchor it to tie it in, to keep it in place. Like I said, mesh is really good about staying in place by itself, so that's good. Now we're going to start making our little circle, guys, out of our green mesh. And this is going to be used for some of our tails to extend across. We'll talk about that when we get closer to the end. So we have quite a bit of that probably left over still, so that's good. We'll use it for those tails. But we're going to make little curlicues out of our mesh and just roll them up, and we're going to put them into our cross. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut 6-inch pieces. And my favorite way for cutting mesh, smaller pieces of mesh, is with my paper cutter. And because you can measure it really, really easy. You don't have to keep messing with the scissors. It goes a lot faster. So you can lay it right down there and cut it. Now we're going to need a lot of these, and it's kind of dependent on you. I do want you to leave a little bit because we do just have one piece on each of the 4 corners. So don't use all of the mesh up, but go ahead and cut quite a bit of it. And once we get them all cut up, we're going to come in and we're going to start putting them on. Remember that center section that shows our rib in our cross? We're going to start putting them on with our pipe cleaners. And I use the green pipe cleaners to match my tool. And I believe I cut this one in, cut it in half and then in thirds. I think cutting it into 4, so it would be a total of 8, was just a little bit too much. So we're going to start curling these. You can start in the middle, you can start at the end, wherever you think you need to start. I'm probably going to start here, right this middle of the cross section. And what I'm going to do, maybe only cut those in half, so 4 for each pipe cleaner. I think that's going to work a little bit better for you. You could do it the other way, but it's going to get pretty tight. So we're going to put the pipe cleaner around, and what you're going to do is you're going to kind of push your way through the mesh, and I'll show you what I mean on the other side. You're going to have to move the purple mesh around to get the pipe cleaners through it. So just move it up or down, but you want to make sure that you get that rib. So once we get that rib, then we're just going to twist it a few times and do our next one. And curl that up. and you're going to fill it in as much as you think it needs to go. Now, what I did for each, like on this one I had 3, so I want at least 3 because you'll go in between, but you may also do one at the bottom or at the top, so you may end up with 3, maybe 4, maybe 5 in each section. So it kind of depends on how full you want it. So on this next one, I'm going to pull the purple up a little bit, and I'm going to show you my fingers so you can see where I'm aiming for. So I've moved this up, so I have that section of tulle up there, and we're going to stick that through and twist that on, and that should be kind of nice and tight with the last one we did, so it shouldn't be too far apart. And you can get a spring packet of your pipe cleaners, or you can get like a lime green one, the color that matches your tulle. They have packages of just one color now, which is really nice. So we're going to do this again. So we're going to move this one up, and we're going to go right there. So we've moved it in between the purple. So each time we put a green one in, we've moved a row of purple tulle up. I think this would be really pretty with silver tulle. I think that would be really pretty as a cross. So I'm going to go ahead and go all the way down, and I'm going to bring it clear to the edges here on all 4 sides, and then we'll talk about that from there. I did all the little curly cues, and I had a couple of places that weren't all the way filled in, so I went back and added them. So if you need to add them, go ahead and do that. Now you may decide at this point in time that you're done and you like the look that it has. I'm going to show you how to kind of make the wispy edges just to kind of make it come out a little bit further as well. But if you like it right there, just stop. This makes a really good centerpiece. It'd be nice on the table at Easter because it would be a nice low decoration. And my husband said as well as a memorial cross, it would hold up really well in the weather and would be a nice thing as well. So we're going to go ahead and talk about our 4 edges. And on each edge I used 4 purple and 1 green, and they were 8 inches apart, and I cut them straight, not at a slant. And again, I'm using my paper cutter just to make it easier for me. And so I'm just going to cut for 1 edge right now. So 4 of those. The paper cutter saves so much time when you're cutting ribbon. I can't tell you how much time it saves. Even if you want more green, I just like the 1 little bit of green. But if you didn't have enough purple, you could reverse it or do whatever you wanted to do on that. So when we do these, you kind of can see these edges if you pull it up. Otherwise, it's not even going to show. So we're going to put 2 purple on each side, and then just get that green as close to the middle as we can. So we're just going to pull those up. We're going to get our little pipe cleaner here again, and we're just going to tie those on. So we've got that first one. You may decide that you want 2 purple and 1 green, and that's enough. You don't need the 4. So however you feel on that. And it kind of curls up You can see which way it's curling up. So instead of doing it this way where it kind of fights you, do it this direction where it's going to kind of lay down together. And so it'll kind of go out better. So we're going to put that. Oops, I lost them here. Been using my share of pipe cleaners for the projects this year, the Easter projects. Make sure you come over and check out all the ones we've been doing. I think this is the most I've done in Easter projects this year, at least not gourd related. If you're a gourd person, or if you're not, check out all the fun Easter things we've done in the past years. Always check out the other years' Easter videos. They're a lot of fun, and I do different things. I kind of get on a different roll, or kind of what's trending, or different things like that. And last year I did the sugar eggs out of gourds, so you'll always have them. They look real. You have to keep people from eating them. So we've got this last guy here, and then we're going to put our green one in. If I can get that little booger through here. There we go. And my last one. And I forgot my green one, so we'll just use the purple one. It's all down there, nobody will see it. So again, we talked about the very edge, and it kind of doesn't matter. There's the center divider just closest to the end that you can do it. It really doesn't matter. Just get that close to the center as you can. It's not a big deal if I can just get it through here. Okay, pull that nice and tight, and kind of have him one on top of the other one facing down, and I probably would make sure that green guy is kind of on the top, and you're bringing those guys down towards the end. So let's go ahead and do those on the 4 edges. And any of these guys like that, you can just come in and trim those or pull those out. Doesn't matter. And I've also heard you can use a little bit of hairspray on it to keep everything from moving. It usually doesn't move too much, but if you wanted to do that, you could do that as well. So I'm going to go ahead and finish them up, and then we'll talk about it when we're all done. I've gone ahead and finished all 4 of my edges. Another thing that you might want to do if you weren't putting it into a wreath is kind of put some spring flowers, maybe a little batch, not too many, just right in that middle would be really cute. Maybe put a bow down on the edge. So there's a lot of different options. This is basically something that you can do to build on, to add to a lot of different things. So that's a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed this little project that we did for you today. Come on over to our store at miriamjoy.com. See all the fun things that we have up there. We've always got unique embellishments going on for you there. Thank you. Have a wonderful Easter. God bless.